We're digging into a change in the Alabama law one district attorney thinks led to accused killer Jimmy Spencer being paroled. That's despite his life sentence and very long rap sheet of violent offenses. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mary Lee Melendez.
And I'm Greg Privet. Dan Schaefer and Demetria McClinton have the evening off. Wait 31's Brecken Terry is live in Franklin County where Jimmy Spencer's life of crime started. Brecken.
I'm outside the courthouse where Spencer spent plenty of time. Now, in my hand are the reasons the parole board let Jimmy Spencer out of prison. Franklin County District Attorney Joey Rushing tells me Spencer was serving a life sentence for crimes he committed here, and he should have never been let out.
Is one of the worst things that can happen is one of the tragedies of the parole system that this individual was allowed out.
Franklin County District Attorney Joey Rushing knows all too well about Jimmy Spencer's violent past in his county. In this parole board action letter, it says parole board chairman Cliff Walker and former parole board member Terry Davis signed off on Jimmy Spencer being paroled. They marked the boxes saying he had a positive conduct record, which is not completely accurate.
That he did escape while in prison, as well as the fact he was convicted of an assault while he was in prison, had to be part of his file because those occurred while he was in prison. You know, how on earth did they mark those boxes as being applicable in this case is beyond me.
The parole board members also marked the boxes calling him a low to medium risk of reoffending. Rushing can't understand that part either because Spencer was already a convicted career criminal.
When they're given the life sentence, that's not a normal sentence in our court system. Being here on a regular basis, I can tell you, not a lot of people get life sentences. If you get somebody with a life sentence, that usually means the prosecutor or the detectives and the policemen, they think they're the worst of the worst.
Rushing told me in 2015, the state changed how the Board of Pardons and Paroles works in Alabama.
They are limited in a way in that the new law that went into effect basically provides them a checklist, and they go down the checklist, and they have a lot less discretion as to who to let out.
Under the Justice Revisement Act of 2015, board members use analytics to predict a prisoner's chances of reoffending, using data rather than their own judgment.
It does emphasize and attempt to make it a lot easier for people to get parole in these situations and to get more people out of prison. To me, that's a dangerous thing. You know, you have to give these individuals on the parole board discretion.
Spencer now stands accused of murdering 3 people in Gunnersville, only months after he was paroled. A person with a violent history, yet they said his chances of reoffending again were low. Maybe an analytical tool or even the parole board members can explain that to Spencer's victims.
Parole board does care. I'm not saying they don't, but they're restricted by that same law that created this is what caused Mr. Spencer to be out. And they need to change it back right now before we have more deaths.
Rushing tells me had he known that Jimmy Spencer was coming up for parole, he would have written a letter to them in 2013 urging them to keep him in prison. Rushing tells me that his office was never notified by the parole board about Jimmy Spencer's upcoming parole, and he says that doesn't mean that they didn't try to send him a letter and it possibly got lost in the mail, but again, he would have asked them to keep him behind bars. Live in Russellville, Brecken Terry, Way 31 News.